Where you click to upload a picture, you have the option to add a location. For example, say you checked in here at 41 Action News. Your photo then added to a collection of many other photos that the public has access to. Look yourself here. Here's what the hot dogs look like that were served tonight at the K. And we bought 40 of them because we wanted to make sure that Aramark was serving good food to fans. Filling these seats inside the Sprint Center for the last Big 12 men's basketball tournament was both easy and quick. In fact, we broke a record, selling out all of the games in just 61 minutes. Mike, right now, from being out here and seeing everything, the smoke is really what seems to be the danger, if there is still a danger. If you live on the east side of the city, you probably will be seeing it for blocks along Independence Avenue. It is strong, it is thick, it's black. I mean, it's enough to make your eyes water. So
talk about a place that is loud on any given day. Right. Yesterday, I can only imagine the chaos that was happening as people were trying to figure out what was going on.
Well, and a lot of people didn't know what was going on until they saw Ford and they saw the gun. One young man I talked to said as soon as he saw that gun, he ran and did not stop until he got to an open field. One driver is lucky to be alive after a very scary crash. Trump was originally not going to stop in Kansas, but then changed his mind, announcing the stop just today. At Fenway Park in Boston, the oldest baseball stadium in the country and one of the most historic and well-known sports venues in the world. You can see you can walk along the sidewalk in Westport and all of a sudden it's closed. Now that's because of a construction site, but that's one of the biggest complaints. Walkers aren't given an alternative but to just cross in the middle of the road. That's right, Rhiannon, an incredibly tough day for the Kansas City Fire Department, especially Station 17. And we're quite a ways, as you'll notice, from that station because we want to respect their privacy, but they've been affected by tragedy in more than one way. And I want you to get a look here. This is probably about a half a foot of water. This is a street that is right in Raymore, and it is just encompassing the road. I mean, you see some headlights in the distance. People are trying to decide if they want to pass through or not. We obviously don't advise it. I mean, we don't even know what is really under all of this water. There have been tree branches reported down, parts of this town that are being blocked off, and I mean, just behind this line of trees, it sounds like a river.
Okay, so now we're going to New York for games 3 and 4, possibly 5, and she's about to have a baby.
She is due in a week and a half, and now this family, I've learned, has had the surprises of a lifetime just this year.
Police looking tonight for whoever shot a man to death overnight in his own driveway. A family member found his body around 8 o'clock this morning, hours after he was shot in his car. This latest homicide coming as the city's task force on violence hears from the public for the very first time.
41 Action News reporter lexidsutter traveled more than 7,000 miles along with a guard.
Climbing aboard takes commitment before it ever takes flight. 7,000 miles from home, above the ocean and the jungle, the men and women of the Kansas Air National Guard have a critical job.
You know, weekend warriors, not really. We're busy all the time.
A job
30,
much more important
20,
than they let on.
10.
They land in a place that looks like paradise. The beauty of Anderson Air Force Base doesn't begin to match its importance.
We do everything in Guam.
Colonel Samuel White left his family in Kansas City to oversee all flight operations.
Our job here is to assure our allies and deter any potential adversaries, which is why we have the Guard here 365 days a year.
The tiny island gives the U.S. a strategic presence in the Pacific. Here we work with allies like Japan and Australia, and we keep tabs on potential threats, China and North Korea.
I think I've been to Guam 3 or 4 times now.
Super stable. Okay.
For most of these people,
Roger.
Serving with the 190th Air Refueling Wing is a second job.
All right, start to roll out. Tanker's rolling out.
When Commander Jared Ramsey isn't on this tanker, he's flying a commercial jet. And Chief Von Burns is also Detective Burns with the Kansas City Police Department. And 20-year-old Carly Stahlbomber, a KU student, putting her education on hold to wear this uniform.
Right, stable.
Crews spend hours in the sky.
Roger.
A show of force and power.
Stable.
This KC-135 is also a flying gas tank.
They don't go that far without us.
Senior Master Sergeant Brian Dillon operates the boom that refuels the fighters and the bombers.
We're always the guys that are just out of the spotlight,
giving them the gas they need to get across the globe.
There is no room for error when you're a boom operator going more than
there's a lot of people's lives in your hands. You know, the fact that the receiver could run out of fuel in the combat zone. You know, there are a lot of different things that, mid-air collisions. It's quite an orchestra of things going on.
No, Guam isn't the face of our country's biggest battle, but it requires a constant presence to keep us safe. It's a volunteer job full of sacrifice.
A little bit of side to side, stable.
16 hours.
0-13-30, looking good.
Away from home.
Receivers.
Action News reporter Lexidsutter is in Excelsior Springs. And Lexi, what's the water level looking like tonight?
Well, Mike, the water was starting to really recede, but now you can see the rain is coming down at a pretty good pace. And people here told me just a day ago, this river was a small creek. It was narrow. You could even see rocks at the bottom of it, but clearly not the case anymore tonight with more water on the way. It's reminding them of a very, very bad time in 1993.
Where is that over there?
Think people watching.
See, there's another wall of something down there.
Except in Excelsior Springs, it's more like water watching.
The 93 floods, exactly what it looked like to me.
The rising water is giving Tamara Tackett deja vu.
It was like a 4-foot wall of water came through in 93, and yesterday it just kept going and going. And it, like I said, within just moments, it was up and over the bridge.
I haven't seen it this bad since 1993. You weren't even born yet.
Andrew Mayer is having flashbacks, too.
Yeah, that's plywood. See?
He brought his daughter down to this bridge to get a look, only to find materials from the construction site he's working on floating downstream.
That's I believe the pillars for the bridge. We just poured those last week.
But people here worry more damage is still to be done. With more rain on the way, they know this bridge and these banks can't hold much more.
And standing on my back porch, I kept hearing this cracking sound, and every time we'd hear the cracking, another tree would go down. And as the water came up, the trees just started rolling over and over.
Now, just yesterday, the river rose so high, water was flowing through the railings here of this bridge. You can see the road remains closed and will remain closed because residents say officials have told them they're not sure how long this bridge will hold and if it will be damaged like it was again in 1993. We're live in Excelsior Springs. Lexidsutter, 41 Action News.